Alright, welcome back everyone to another episode of Before We Leave. Hope everyone is doing great today. I know that I am. We're jumping on into things today. Actually starting with something a little different, as you can see up on the screen here. So we are taking a peek, first and foremost, at the post-release roadmap published by Balancing Monkey Games, the people who put out Before We Leave. They posted this over on their Discord. If you're interested in taking a deeper look or asking questions, I highly recommend joining their Discord. Bunch of useful information out there, but they just released this the other day, and I figured that we could take a peek through it. Now, a lot of these things are TBA, but I thought they were interesting enough that we could touch base on them to see where the game is headed now that we, have gotten a decent way through most of everything. So first and foremost, obviously the Kraken comes. That came out a couple of days ago and added in a whole bunch of new things. We've already gone over all of that. I think the only thing that I didn't really touch on was around cloud saving. They do have cloud saving now through the Epic Games Store where you can buy it from. So you can obviously take advantage of that capability now. The next in line is management. So they're adding a bunch of things around how you manage your settlements. So analysis tools, management overlays, micromanagement of resources, which sounds kind of interesting. And then there's a couple other features that they must be working on behind the scenes that they haven't included in that yet. But that is the next one in line, and it does say soon. So I don't know if we're talking months, weeks, no real time frame on that thus far. But it seems like a cool next update to look forward to. However, I think the next two are going to be the most interesting of all of them. And now, unfortunately, they only have TBAs, and obviously they're going to be after the management update comes out. But the next two are around roads and then biomes. So let's first talk on the roads here. So they're planning to add stone roads, decorated roads, the ability to demolish mountains, which sounds pretty cool. They're going to add in some power lines, which could be really, really nice because as of right now in the game, all we have is the capability of our peeps to transport that power to the places that need it. So adding in power lines maybe would alleviate that need. They're adding in new types of warehouses, which sounds really cool too. It'd be really nice to have new warehouses, maybe ones that take up smaller space or just have different capabilities in general. Be really awesome. And then other features that, again, they have not announced yet, so there could be some additional things that they add in there. I'm guessing that if they add anything additional to that list, it's just going to be small things, maybe one additional big thing, because obviously they've planned out a lot of the big stuff. That's what they're planning on working on, and then other things will probably come in time. Now finally, the last one is biomes, which again sounds super interesting. So they're going to add in some different biomes. Right now we don't have a ton of biomes. Mainly there's just like 3, I would really say. You have your desert, you have your snowy, and then you have just your normal like grassy biome. And then on top of that there are different, different items or different perspectives on top of that, being, finding certain things on certain areas, so different research and so on and so forth. But talking about the actual visual look, those are the main ones. Obviously you have your ocean and then your North and South Pole, but you don't really utilize a lot of those. I mean, the ocean is starting to get some use, but really focusing on the islands, adding some different biomes would be super awesome. The next thing also is new island shapes, which would be kind of cool. Then a better variety of planets, which again would be something interesting to see. We have gone through maybe 4 planets thus far in our gameplay, and they've been pretty cool, but it'd be awesome to see like those very different planets have some more variety maybe to them, especially if we're getting different types of islands as well. Then they're thinking about adding dynamic weather, which would be pretty cool. As of right now, we don't have any weather other than your day and night cycle. So adding in weather could be an interesting turn on things, maybe affecting your peeps. If it's snowing out or if it's raining out, maybe they work a little bit slower. Maybe you need to add some new clothing into the mix to allow them to work more effectively during those scenarios. It'd be kind of cool. Or it'd be cool if they added in things that, you know, could be disastrous impacts. You know, oh, we got hit by like a tsunami, or there was a tornado, or so on and so forth. I feel like there's a lot of cool things that could come along with dynamic weather if they do add that in. They're also thinking about custom planet layouts. That'd be interesting. I don't know necessarily, you know, what they are thinking on that end, obviously. They even have question marks next to that one. So maybe they're thinking just being able to select, you know, where your islands are going to be formed at, or maybe how the planets are going to be arranged in the solar system. Maybe if ones are closer, ones are farther away, so on and so forth. Not really sure. I mean, it sounds interesting. And then obviously they have that last point there for other features that, you know, they still have not come up with just yet. So I think it's a lot of cool ideas that are coming down the pipeline for them. It's a really awesome game. I love playing a lot, but you do get to that point where it starts getting a little bit repetitive, and you know, you start getting towards the end game, which, I mean, is the ultimate goal. I mean, the ultimate goal of a game is to beat it in some form or fashion. But I think with this roadmap and having a decent plan on how they want to move forward with everything, definitely adds a little bit longer life to the game itself. So I'm really excited for it. I actually threw out some suggestions to them on what would be cool to see in the game. Like I had suggested double long bridges, so you could go over 2 block spaces rather than just one. So maybe you could get to some of those little offshore islands that are just close enough but not quite there that you could use a single bridge for, but if you had a double bridge, you definitely could get over there and utilize the space in some form or fashion. I don't know. I threw it out there. They did respond to me, and they said that it's been suggested, and they obviously are going to look into different ideas as they move along through the development, post-release development. So again, great company that put out this game. They're definitely open to hearing suggestions. And if you guys have anything that you want to suggest to them, highly recommend hitting up their Discord. They have a couple different tabs over there that you can put your suggestions in at. You can see this roadmap for yourself. And then you can also just chit chat with fellow people who are playing the game, as well as some of the developers. So anyway, guys, that's going to wrap it up for the post-release roadmap. We're going to hop into some gameplay and get the ball rolling on things. Alright guys, so we are now back into the game. I hope you all did enjoy that little recap of the roadmap. So where we last left off in our previous episode, we had gotten our deep miner up and going, producing some good resources. I do have the game paused right now, just so we can recap a little bit. But we did have our deep miner up and going. We had upgraded it so it will output iron a little bit quicker than what it would on its standard form, which is awesome. So we have that up and going. We have our automated iron smelter on this planet, as well as our toolsmith. Now, we were considering setting up a steel smelter on this planet as well, so that we could smelt up just steel here and have it produced if we needed it, and almost getting this to be like a second hub maybe to Earth. That was kind of what I was thinking after we wrapped up the last episode, but I'm not 100% sure on that. The other thing that we did get around to, which we'll have to jump planets for here, I think it was on Mercury if I'm not mistaken, but we finally found an island. Was it on Mercury? Yes, it was. We finally found an iron that has astrobalium on it, which is what we need to get going on some stuff, which if I was on an island that would let me pull it up. There we go. So, in order to get some of these other items up and going, we need to mine that astrobalium. So if we wanted this Aegis, so shields the island from space whales, we definitely need to get that astrobalium right here. It says we need 10 of it. The other thing that we do have is the space elevator, which actually now makes sense. Actually, I'm sorry, not the space elevator. It was, where was it? It was an elevator of sorts, but it was one that was protective to allow peeps survive on the astrobalium tiles, which now makes 100%. It makes sense because the astrobalium is up in the air, as you can see. It's almost like a mountain. We're definitely going to need to put in an elevator to get it up to this point. Now, in order to mine all of this, in order to do anything on this island, we need to colonize it. When we discovered it in the last episode, we just scouted it out, and that's why we can see it like how we can see it right now. But in order to actually get to a point where we can start mining it, start getting resources to it that we need a colony ship up and going. Now, if I take a peek over here at our shipwright, we can do a colony ship, but we need more stone. Now, are we producing stone on this planet? We are, but we don't have any storage space, and that is what is holding us up. We definitely have to have some good storage space for it. So we have a place for iron and wood, and then I'm guessing this is food and water. Yep. So what we're going to want to do is get another warehouse going here. And let me bump up our time here a little bit so we get the ball rolling. We are still dealing with the Kraken back on Earth. Unfortunately, we unlocked it in the previous episode. I think it was the previous episode, or maybe it was the one before it. But either way, we are still dealing with that. And actually, ooh, this got done really quick. This is going to be stone. Let me get this marked off as stone, just like so. And they'll start storing it for us. But actually, I was talking with the devs, or at least their representative over on their Discord channel, about some of the ideas I had for this game, like I mentioned in our recap of the roadmap. And one of the things I was bringing up was maybe some more capabilities to the Kraken, or just to the, you know, exploring the ancient ruins out in the oceans. Because when we were doing it, we were not really finding a lot of useful materials. We were finding some research, but not a lot of it. Which I thought was a little bit unfortunate. I was expecting to find maybe a little bit more, maybe a couple more items. But, you know, it is what it is. I mentioned it to them. They have thoughts around it, and hopefully in the future they're going to implement some changes around it, which would be really cool to see. But anywho, we need a colony ship up and going, so let's get that set in stone there. Now, our explorer's hut is no longer necessary because we've gotten all the research off of this island. So all we need to do is get that colony ship up and going, and then we should be pretty set on things. Now, we do have our houses here. And let me take a peek again then at a fountain, because the fountains are honestly one of the easiest ways to make our peeps happy. Now, it would reach a decent ways away, and we could put another house in here, realistically. And I think we should get another house going right there. Did I set a school up here? That's the other question. I don't recall. I don't think we do. So we have our ships. We have all that. Yeah, we have our water out there. Spaceport. And then just our library. So yeah, we actually don't have a school here, which would be extremely useful to have, considering we're going to have to, you know, populate this area. So why don't we put the school in maybe right there? That's what I'm thinking. I think that would be a decent place for it. I mean, we could always nix out some area there or put it there, but we might have farms there. Or we could stick it actually way over here by the library. We could do that. We could have it come down a little bit farther and have it join up over here, or just have it right there. Yeah, let's put it right there. I think that's a good place for it. We'll get the school up and going so that we can have more peeps populate this island. We do have our colony ship ready to go. Thor, our colony ship. And we want to make the path of least resistance over to our new island. Now, what is going to realistically be that path? That is the question. Unfortunately, I don't think there's going to be much of a good way, because our port is right here. I mean, we're just going to have to go straight across like so, and then get set up somewhere over here. Now, I feel like this area right here would be a good spot to start setting things up. So why don't we head over this way, and we'll get colonized on this island here. We want to put it right here? I think so. I think this would be a good place. Let me turn the camera around a little bit so we can see what's going on here. Yeah, and we could do it like so on there, but I think right there would be perfect spot. Cool. So we got to get everything set up per normal, so very similar to what we have done in the past. And because this is our ultimate goal right there. Now, I don't know how much pollution we're going to get from, you know, getting everything set up in that area. So we're going to want to be cautious with that kind of thing. I'm thinking what we could do is we could get a couple bridges in here and get the ball rolling. This would be kind of cool over here. We are going to want to get a trade ship up and going too between the two islands, so we're going to definitely want to go back to our first island, Island 1, and get a trade ship up and going. Now we do have a whale incoming, and they do have a decent chance of attacking any of our planets at this point. They did change that in the Kraken update. So let's go over to our ship right here. And we do want a trade ship. So we're going to let them start that bad boy up so we can get things rolling. And we're going to come back over here. And we do need to get some houses set up. So let's do some excavation here. Get some of these trees torn down through here, because we really don't need them. We'll just clean out a ton of space here. Just like so. And then actually maybe what we'll do is we'll have the road go this way a little bit more. Just like so. And it would be, like I said, extremely cool to get a bridge up and going, but unfortunately, we cannot have our bridge until we have a library set up here. And we need houses as well. A lot of things to get set up. It's back to the basics once again. So actually, you know what, let's nix, actually, well, we could use some of these as ports, or we could put some ports over this way, maybe. So I'm actually going to nix these bad boys out. It's going to Venus. Actually, let's hop over to Venus really quick and see what we got going on here. Unfortunately, there's not much we can do. We don't have any preventative items set up on Venus to stop the attack. So we're just going to have to see where it comes through at and what it takes up. So it did, ooh, it got relatively close there. Holy smokes. It took out a lot. Look at that. Wow, okay, yeah. And it got extremely close to our setup right here. But we don't have really too much going on this area here. We have some production of things, but not a whole lot. We do have some research that we could be collecting, red research, but we really need that purple research to keep going on things. So anywho, let's jump back to Mercury. That's where our focus is for the time being. And we're going to zoom in here. Do we risk the ancient ruins? Let's explore the ancient ruins and see what we get. I don't think they're going to be too happy right now because we don't have any houses set up for them. So maybe we should do that first and foremost. I am trying to consider how I want the road to go. So if we do it like this, and then maybe have it come up this way. Oh, that's not the right button. Just like so, and we'll have it kind of connect over like that. That'd be kind of cool. And then we'll have this go off maybe in like this direction. And then we could get a bunch of stuff set up all through here. Plenty of spaces for everything. But I'm thinking housing. Housing would be kind of cool if we set it up all over there. Because, well, we don't have our library set up, unfortunately. So we can't really see where a fountain would go. Which is a bit of a bummer. But, you know what, it is what it is. Let's just go with it. And we'll get a couple houses set up right over here. So I think 4 huts to start is a good space to be. We're going to kick it into 4th gear just so that we can get the ball rolling. And then we are going to need that library. And we're going to set that bad boy up over there. Cool beans. Exploring the ancient ruins, hang on, reveals that we need to what we need to learn battery power. So we've actually unlocked battery power, which is awesome. We can take a peek once our library gets up and running here. on that. So we actually knocked one other thing off the list. So we only have 2 things left on our list to research. And we do need that purple research for back on Earth. But we do have battery power now. So let's take a really quick peek at what battery power offers to us. So it allows the construction of battery plants and battery power generators, which allow power to be transported between islands and planets. So now basically what we have available to us is the capability to store some of our power from other planets or other islands and send it to different planets or islands. So that's actually really cool to have, cool capability. I feel like at this point in the game though, it's easy enough to get a single, wood generator built up on an island and have that producing the power that you need. But then to be able to store it, that is the cool perspective that I think will come in handy, so that we can store it even when it's not being used, and then we have backups in the chance that, maybe we're not producing power. Like if we have solar power up and going, obviously that's not going to run all the time. So cool, we have that up and going. We definitely need to have some... Let's try to nix, maybe we can nix some of these out actually. Can we put the road like that and then have it come over like that? That would actually be pretty cool. And then what we could do, yeah, we could have it like separate like so. And then we'll have it come all the way over here. And then we have to get up to it, right? And we can nix out this little area here. I'll nix that out as well. And then this is what our ultimate goal is here. We do have gremlins on this island, which does not make me super thrilled. So we're going to want to watch out for those bad boys. But ultimately, we should be okay. We are going to want to get that trade line up and going so that we can transport stuff to this island. But there we go. We have that. We do have our library, so that means we can stick in other items that we want as well. So we can get this bridge up and going here. And luckily, it's pretty close to our port, so we have all the materials there. And bada bing, bada boom, we have our bridge now. Really cool. I personally love putting in bridges. I know that they're unnecessary. You realistically don't need to have them, but they're just such a cool aesthetic to have that, it's cool to see them in use, realistically. So, anywho, we can keep on moving on then. So we're going to want to get some food set up as well for these guys. Now I'm trying to consider how far away we want to keep our food and our wood generation. We have a huge portion of this island. I mean, look at how big this place is. So realistically, we could kind of put it farther away, but we do want to take into consideration transport times. That's always going to be one of the big issues, is making sure that you have enough, have things close enough so that they can easily be transported to where you need them. So if we had our food production way out here, but then we had our storage for it way over here, you have to take into consideration those peeps have to transport that food all the way back and forth, moving it to the warehouses. And then if we are sending it somewhere else, then it has to be moved from our warehouses to our port. So just something to keep in mind when you are setting things up. I know I've been over a lot of this stuff before, but I know not everyone watches from the start of the episodes or from the start of the series, or just watches all the episodes in general. So I don't think it hurts to go over things every so often, just to make sure that everyone is on the same page with things. So how do we want to do this? So we're pretty far out here, and what we could do is we could just start getting things set up. I want to say along the side here. I feel like this side path here is going to be one of our best bets for things, especially if we start going off in this direction. And well, actually what we could do is keep it along the shoreline here. Yeah, we could do that. So let's nix out a lot of these boys here. Just like so. And then what we're going to do is we'll probably stick our woodcutter relatively far out here where we have more trees. Or actually we could stick them probably right back in here. So let's get our woodcutter in there. Resource gathering, por favor, and woodcutter. get him stuck in there. And then what we're going to do is hop over to roads, and we're going to stick them going like so. Actually, I'm going to have it go like this, and then bump up this way, and then this way. Kind of do a weird teeter-totter along the coastline, and have all of our fields along the coastline here. I think that's going to be a good look for things. And then also what we can have here is a couple warehouses if need be. I am actually really surprised at how big this island is. I would want to venture to say that this is probably the biggest island that we have encountered thus far. It definitely offers us a good amount of real estate to get things set up in, which is amazing. But obviously it does then it does show us some new problems that we could run into as well. We do have our woodcutter going. He's going to start getting wood. We're definitely going to want to get a warehouse up and going. Maybe we'll make this warehouse lane right through here for the time being. And unfortunately, we just don't have things set up for that. So why don't I get a couple more things in place? I know not everyone likes to see this kind of, grind again, this early game instance of getting everything set up on an island after we've repetitively done it many times before. So let me cut away, let me get some stuff in place, and then for the last couple minutes of the episode, we'll jump back and hopefully be in a better scenario than where we are at right now. So with that being said, we'll be right back. Alright guys, so you would not believe the amount of work I've done. I've been probably playing for about 45 minutes or something like that, just to get things into a good place. I've been jumping between planets, tinkering with supply lines, and just getting everything sorted properly. Now, I was going through and basing a lot of my changes off of what we are needing in order to get some of these things up and going. So if I go to resource collecting here, to get our Astrobellium mine up and going, we need stone, tools, steel, glass, and gadgets. I made sure to get that all set up on this island so we have everything coming over here that we need for that. But on top of doing that, we also need that specialized protective elevator. Now looking at that, we need tools, gadgets, clothing, fuel, as well as steel. So that's a lot of oddball items to get. And we did have a good clothing, like the good clothing production going up over on Mars. But I did encounter an interesting scenario with it. So whenever you send clothing to a different place that might not already have that good clothing, it gets distributed amongst those peeps before being then spread out to where its ultimate destination is going. So for us, over on Mars, we had it set up on our, I'm going to pause the game real quick. We had it set up on our snowy island, our second island. I set up a supply line to go from that island to our main space base on that island, our first island, to then have that shipped from our main landing pad there over to Mercury here to land on our main island here on Mercury, then to have that shipped over to our second island here where we need them. So making several different jumps there, going from ship transport to space transport to another ship transport. Ultimately, it's not producing enough clothing on that island to where it gets distributed, because whenever it hits that next bump that didn't have that clothing, it gets distributed amongst all those peeps, like I said. So first and foremost, being sent from our second island to our first island on Mars, it's getting distributed amongst those 60 or so peeps that we have on that island before it could even get onto the spaceship to then be sent here. And even if we did get to that point, it then would be distributed amongst the peeps on that island. So it would be kind of nice if you had the option to set it up where peeps wouldn't automatically take those, like if you could lock a shipment or something like that so it wouldn't be distributed. That'd be kind of cool. I don't know if there is a feature like that I'm just overlooking, but from my digging, I haven't found anything like that. So I ultimately decided it's a lot easier if we just set up that good clothing production on this island rather than, trying to figure out how we could get things set up through supply lines or waiting for them to get set up on supply lines. So I obviously set up a whole slew more of warehouses all through here. I put in some cotton fields here. I also put in some potato fields here because unfortunately I went through some ancient ruins over on this part of the island and it unleashed a minotaur over here. So I needed to get a training grounds up and going. That was pretty straightforward to do. We can actually upgrade that. Ooh, if we had tea. We need tea in order to do that. So maybe we'll get some tea production going up on here because we got plenty of space for it. But obviously this is our farming central right over here with our cotton, our vegetables, and our potatoes. And then I have it coming out this way if we wanted to, you know, put some stuff out here. I have a cleaner out here because I did put in a sheep farm to get wool so that we could get that good clothing up and going. I do have a quarry that I put up here as well as a wood generator to produce that power that we need. And then jumping back over this way to our main area, I did get in place a good tailor and a good weaver. Now we can upgrade these to be automated if we so choose to do, so we don't have to have as many people there, which could be really good to do just to cut back on the amount of people we need. But because we've been expanding so rapidly and so quickly, I've had to upgrade all of our housing here for the most part, except for this one little boy here, to apartments. So we got these up and going here so we have enough place for our peeps to be at. But all in all, we're at a good point. I'm not gonna lie here. We are at a good point here. Now, I'm curious, what is going on with this? Oh, we're just waiting on some good cloth to come through here, which should be coming through any minute now. Maybe. Ah, there we go. Yep. Or no. Actually, no, it did not. We are just waiting on that. That's not a big deal there. I think it's just because the Minotaur is out. Everything really slows down when we don't have when we have the Minotaur running around like that. But yeah, so we are at a good point. We have pretty much everything that we need now. We can get our mine up and going, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, we can do our Astrobellium mine here, and we could get it set up here, but we do have to put that elevator in first, which the only thing that we're waiting on is some good clothing to backlog, and then some gadgets as well, which gadgets are probably going to be shipped over relatively soon. This actually might be carrying some. Nope, just got that. I'm pretty positive my supply line does have gadgets included on it. Let me just double check. Oh, it does not. So let me just add some of those in here. So let's maintain a target of 15 gadgets on this island at the very least. Thank you very much. That will ensure that we get our gadgets. And then we, like I said, we just have to wait on clothing, which once again is boiling down to that issue that we are going to run into time and time again, where if we produce good clothing, it's going to get distributed first to our peeps before it is backlogged. So we have to get 42 of them made for all of our peeps before we can even get to the point where we can start backlogging those 10 that we do need. Now, I don't think that we can change anything. Yeah, we can change our delivery and fetch if we wanted to, but we can't really change much else there. And we can't store that many there. Now, if we come into here, if we go into clothing and good clothing, we could do options. Yeah, I mean, you could pause this maybe, or maybe change the priority to be higher so we keep the clothing in there. I could try that and see if it'll store clothing before it'll distribute them, because if it does that, that could be a good thing. Let's see here. So we're waiting on stuff. We're getting that going, which should be sent over relatively quickly. Or you know what, it's going to populate, it's going to store it all here first, right? Because I have this higher priority. And we are storing good clothing. Okay, so there you go. There's your answer right there. I know we're running over on time, but if you're in a situation where the clothing is getting distributed to your peeps before anything else, just have a warehouse set up with a higher priority, and it'll store those before it distributes them. I think ultimately for us it was a good thing that we set it up on this island, because then you're setting high priorities on multiple different warehouses across multiple different islands and planets, and that's just a headache in itself, so it's easier to have it where you need it. But guys, with that being said, we are way over time, almost 35 minutes here. I really appreciate you guys all watching. If you did enjoy this episode, feel free to leave a like down below. Or better yet, leave me a comment. Love to hear what you guys are thinking on this game or just anything in general. If you're new to the channel, you want to follow along, hit that subscribe button and bell notification. It'll let you know every single time a new episode is posted to the channel. I do stream over on Twitch. I have that link in the description as well with my schedule. However, that schedule may change, and if you want to be up to date on the most recent things with the channel and with streaming, check out the Discord. It should be working below. If you have any troubles, just let me know. Other than that, guys, thanks again for sticking through till the end. I'll catch you all in the next one. Thanks. Bye.